I was saying that we'll just close that earlier discussion. What the question was. Uh, if we don't pay attention to the trajectory and rather pay more attention to the resource, then we may replace the long list of research papers, books, and periodicals and journals and all that with a YouTube series of videos. That is not the objective. So LXT has not to be mistaken into change of medium rather than rather than the or exotic list of content. So that is not the purpose and that is not the objective of LXT. LXT has to go with um, the chunking, which was very nicely pointed out. I am really feeling bad that we lost that discussion forum also now because of this goof up in between, because there is something what I think Professor Gaurav had written and couple of others had written very nice valid points in that. So please remember that this is not about the change of medium all the time. So whatever you are pointing them to, it has to be from the perspective of how it is going to contribute to the learning outcomes of the course, and will facilitate the different styles, categories, and objectives of learners. So that is very important. So in that sense, I was contradicting that, okay, giving a link to Netflix is a very scary thing that way, because you will not be guaranteed for what outcome could that be with. But yeah, if you give a focus thing about like watch this 5 minutes for the marketing explanation, or maybe
Yeah,
a video of
that is what I
Bill,
wanted to answer.
Steve Jobs when he presented the iPhone for the first time, or something like that, as an example with that quote on top, like what they should see in this particular video. That is very important, and the assimilation quiz automatically sets the thing right and closes the loop for that.
So obviously, these guidelines are always given
Yeah.
pre in advance, so that it is not the part of the class, when we are showing the MOOC, but it is pre-reading. Like pre-reading, you can give so many contents, and it should be pre-watching or pre-reading, or maybe they can listen to some podcast also. I think it's fair enough to go ahead with that, but obviously, as I also shared, that it has to be aligned with your outcomes. When I'm showing Netflix documentary, I don't want them to focus on the heroes or characters of that particular movie only. I want them to critically evaluate and analyze the situation. If I'm teaching marketing or life skills, or I want them to understand about transformational leadership, so then from Vijay Mallya case, they have to come up with that kind of thought process. So obviously that has to be aligned. So this is what generally we are doing. So I've seen it working well. That's why I shared. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah. So this particular case study was is interesting because I have a question for all of you. So here, do we have that in the slide later on? Like, if my topic is 3D modeling, what could be the LXTs? No. Okay. So I'm just going to take that up then. Okay. So open question. Now that Google Meet has woken up all of us. So uh, some uh, some activity. So imagine that I am a teacher of 3D modeling. My topic for the week is 3D modeling. Now, what could be the LXT topics for me? That is the question. What all could you think that people would like to read, watch more about it? I have explained how to model. I have to explain the technicalities. I have explained what is 3D structure, how it is done, and all that. Now, what could be the additional reading that people may expect from this? By the way, who all will be the people who will join my course if it is about 3D modeling? Okay, let us take that diversity angle first. So, who all will join my course?
So
If
please
the
give a summary of course so that I can decide whether it is for
yeah,
me or not.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is about the concepts of 3D, and it will also have a practical. The course is entirely about practical sessions how to model objects in 3D, how to put lights on them, texture them, and all that. By the end of the course, you will be able to model multiple objects and would be able to create beautifully rendered pictures of these models. So if that is the summary of the course, who do you think will, okay, very good. Gaurav is bang on. Designers, visualizers. Yeah, keep adding to these things. Who all will do that? Go wild in your imagination. Who else can join the group? Yeah, but don't say anybody who is interested. So that is not well. How does it work in, okay, before I could read it. In practical application, what kind of pointers are used and their price? Printers, okay, so people in 3D printing industry, okay, very good, yeah, very nice point. I have not come across many people who catch this point, so very nice. Yeah, apart from designers, visualizers, 3D printers, yeah, new product managers, very good, yeah, product designers basically, then UI UX, okay, web developers, people from entertainment, yes, perfectly, Monica, people from this entertainment domain, art lovers, okay, and I don't see one particular thing which is very much required. Photo, okay, photo cakes, okay. The people who make the cake, yeah, but there is no 3D required there. Wedding planners, probably, yeah. Stall designers, like exhibition designers, architects, okay. Gaming industry, a lot of people from gaming industry require 3D modeling, isn't it? So look at the spectrum now. So there are people, yeah, logo designers, yes, emblem designers, very good. So look at these people. So the moment I announce the course with these particular objectives, all these people are going to join my course. And when I start teaching, always a fraction of them is going to be satisfied with where it is going, and most of the others are going to say, like, when will mera chance kab aayega types, like when is he going to talk about gaming, and when is he going to talk about effects and creating avatar style and all that. So these are the people who are perpetually waiting. So LXT comes to a rescue of that. So I can say that I can announce LXT on, if you want to use 3D modeling for gaming, here is additional reading material. I am not going to cover gaming in the course because I am just going to cover object modeling. But if you are going to do it for game, which requires low poly and very low resolution modeling, it's a different technique. So go ahead and read about it. I am not going to cover it. So that just sorts out the problem for them. Similarly for 3D printers, because it doesn't take a standard file format and it has to think about other parameters also. It's a different technique. So I'll give them videos about how to do 3D modeling for 3D printing and so on and so forth. So these would be the trajectories. So in one of the courses that I taught, I had given this as a trajectory that if you want to utilize 3D modeling for architectural or interior design, then you can go ahead and read about it. To my surprise, one of the students actually not just read it, but followed that to make it actually a profession. And this guy created an app, a small app using 3D modeling that they can utilize to show, yeah, hotel industry people, yes. So he created an app for interactive app for interior decorators. So interior decorator can go with that app to the clients, and then like you see here behind the Buddha statue, if you want a golden background or you want a white background, so that option is given here in 2 buttons, and if you select a tile, the background will change. Now this interactivity was embedded into the app, which was not taught in the course. The important point is that this was not part of the course. It was just a LXT, which was explored and kind of exploited by this young man, and he made this app. So this is what can come out of LXTs or project-based learning. So this was given as a project, and then you can see the output, right?
Yeah. And the next one is again of the same course probably, but an amazing outcome. Now, something that probably none of us would have even thought. Just see this. And then,
Yeah. Yes.
this is my favorite, my personal favorite example
Yeah.
of Sir's course.
This is again using AR and VR. So yeah, a lot of people, we did not get that, by the way, in the list here. That why should I learn 3D modeling for doing AR and VR is the buzzword right now. But this guy actually bagged a project at Ministry of Culture of Tamil Nadu government and created a VR model of a temple where you can actually walk inside the temple, click a button, go to the first floor, read about the plaques which are presented there, and so on and so forth. So totally virtual tour. In fact, a lot of people enjoyed that during the lockdown, I am told, when people could not go out to those places. But barring the casual part of it, actually, we have seen many examples, not just these, but many examples where people have just started off on various things. In fact, one of the examples is right here with us. So we have Tejinder Kaur with us, who was a student of the LCM course when we offered it on Swayam. And she runs her own YouTube channel now with all LEDs. Okay, now the LED, how to make a LED, what can be a good LED and all that is converted to a new trajectory for her. So yeah, so that's how things can happen. Like people can take inspiration from their objectives that they have. And if they get proper channelized maybe content, which is chunked properly for them, made to order, then they really excel in that, is what our experience has been.
Yeah, so with that, we would just like to say that the takeaways of the LXT are to cater the diverse learners and the diverse learning levels. And like we saw in these two examples, it is more to provide depth and breadth both. So taking care that the trajectory remains a trajectory and not a tangent, and always close the loop with an assimilation quiz or a project like we just saw. So these are the takeaways of LXTs, and then we just see very quickly what are the LXT creation steps. We will be repeating this later because this is going to be your assignment for the coming week. That is like how just now when Monica ma'am was talking about, and then we had this discussion. So first we will list out all the possible categories that are there. That would also include like what we saw, photo cakes, which could be a category. So identify all the possible categories and then prioritize the categories. Then search for the resources, and most importantly, while giving any resource, please check the copyrights. Then try to skim off. Like, there will be multiple resources that you would love to, but they may not be satisfying that particular outcome. So be brutal to yourself and just remove off. And then create an assimilation.
Yes. So in order to avoid these random categories and absurd categories, many steps back before LXT, when you write the objective, like somebody asked me, I was very happy to know that, okay, tell us the summary of the course first and then only do that. So make it a point in the summary of the course, a line explicitly saying what is not included in the course. Like if you see the abstract or the summary of my course, which I have published on a website, it says that this course is not going to talk about the character animation. It is only about object animation. So obviously we don't have to give any trajectory about how to create a model of a horse or a cow or avatar kind of a person and all that. So that is totally excluded. So therefore it will be easy for you to define, because this is a question which is asked many times, that there is endless possibilities. Like, should we go ahead and keep doing all these things? Then our main time will go into searching for some absurd things like photo cakes and all that. But if that we have clarified that this is only about this thing, then we are not liable to the diversity of this particular category of students who have taken admission inadvertently. Let me put it this way. Although I have mentioned that this is going to be characterless animation course, but if still people come and ask me that, can you teach us how to animate a villain character or something, I have to plainly tell them that, oh, you are in the wrong course probably, and you can just skip this. That's how it is.
Sameer sir, how do you categorize the priorities generally when you make the MOOCs? What is your criteria of prioritizing the categories?
Yeah, it is like you keep doing pre-polls, like you know the audience. If you know that, like we did for you all, when we asked Rohit for a spreadsheet of who all have registered, and when we glanced through it, like there are how many are from engineering background and how many are from humanities. So all examples were customized immediately throughout our sessions. We just changed the examples. Because just a month back when we gave out to another university which was dominantly a technology university, all our examples were about computer science, mechanical, civil and all that. And we just have to change it. So it's
But
like you have
my extended question could be like, if I'm unaware of my audience and everything, so then how to take care of a generalized,
So the first activity should be know your audience. Then that way, your structure of the course should be that use your week 0, like the pre-week. So you announce the course on 11th of next month, and the registration starts on 1st of the month. Then use the first 10 days to conduct activity like this, using any tool. But you get the thing in place.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
And also, like,
can I add a few points?
Yes.
Yeah, addressing to what Dr. Monkesuri was asking, sir, I think we can apply Kolbe's model and try to see whether students are falling in converging, accommodating, assimilating, diverging. There is a Kolbe model. So I thought of applying that and then putting them into this. Based on that, I will follow this.
Yes. It's like why I did not go too much into detail of the answer. Also, there is a caveat there. So, see, when we are talking about MOOC, we are doing everything in advance. I'm shooting in advance. I'm editing in advance. I've uploaded my content 2 weeks in advance. And now if I realize that, oh, my examples are from computer science and entire course population is in humanities, then what am I going to do? So it is important that you do a pre-test of things rather than doing in a class. It can help probably after the first class, first session or something, you realize who is what and all that thing. This is how you normally take it. And yeah, but there could always be a chance where you may not get the exact things as per the plan. You may not get feedback and you may not get clear picture of that. So then safest bet is to go neutral, and that happens. So yeah, how do I consider categories? By experience, by now I know that okay, these are the top 5 categories all the time. So people
I ask this question, sir. Maybe the students who are coming to us for MBA, a few of them might have done their BTech and few of them might have done their BBA. Some might be from the technical background and non-technical background, but they are actually the part of the same course, that is MBA. So that's why I was just asking this point, that how, because maybe the students coming from BTech background, they will have a different set of expectations with respect to examples or activities that we are projecting. Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly the reason why to include LXDs.
Yeah.
So they can be catch-up things also. So you say that okay, if you are that for people a primer on fundamentals of management, the entire course or course material is a LXD for them. So that is fine. In fact, we have tried doing. Maybe I'll show you my course structure sometime. So we have put up like in course number 2, like advanced course. We have given course number 1 as a preparatory part, not even as LXD. We have given as a preparatory part. So we start the registration 1 month in advance and tell them that, okay, those who have not done course 1 and still have come to course 2 can go and do a fast track of course 1.
So bridge
using
course,
this
kind
one.
of bridge course, a kind of bridge MOOC, bridge, like
Yeah.
we call it bridge course and bridge MOOC. Yeah, yeah.
But all these things are pre, and like you said in your example, you are talking about a program level thing.
Yeah.
We are talking niche. We are talking about not even a course. We are talking about the week of that. So LXT applies to a week. That week, if you are going to teach a topic or 2 topics or something, we are talking only about extension trajectories for that weeks of content. Now there these global problems don't come into picture, like whether the person has come from BTech or MTech or something like that. It is only about that topic that we have to do the extension trajectories of.
Okay.
Okay, so these are the LXT creation steps that we were talking about, and this is going to be the assignment. And yes, we will be showing the constructor as well towards the end. And with this, we move on from extra things towards how do we experience a course. And just as we can see here, experiencing a course comes from interaction and engagement, both. So when we talk about interaction and engagement, how does it differ from person to person and from course to course? So again, an activity here, yeah. So how many of us actually have been guilty of all this also? That we do enroll in a course, we may watch, we may attempt a few quizzes, but how many of us actually post in the discussion forum? Do we do all the 4?
I can list out a lot of names here actually.
Yes. See,
difficult because I have to write a lot of names. There are only
no,
few who actually don't subscribe to this idea.
yeah. So no, they are all saying that I do. So we are all guilty of enrolling. We are all guilty of watching. But that's the main part, right? Because that's also the blame that the MOOCs get, that you don't get the experience of a classroom or of the physical class or something like that, because what is missing is the interaction. So exactly what we are looking here at is a funnel where there are lots of people who will enroll into the course. There will be many of them who would actually watch the course. Some of them are also going to attempt the quizzes, but there will be very, very few who will actually post in the discussion forum. So now, why don't we post in the discussion forum is our question to you. Otherwise, in the classroom, we keep on talking to each other. Then why not here?
Because we don't want that others should actually be influenced by the biases that I have for that particular MOOC. So I want them, their own judgments and their own experience to be and taken care of. Yeah.
So you mean to say that you would be talking about the course as such and your experience of the course that you are taking? Yeah, so that is one thing that is actually done by many of the participants. But actually, when we say experience, learning experience, it's not that. We would just like you all to go back to the student days when we all were students. So what was it that actually gave us a very fulfilled type of an experience? Was that we always had some peer sitting across to whom we could talk to whom we could maybe ask something related to whatever the teacher is teaching, or even those extra comments, that we wouldn't actually say.
So that main focus is always on the teacher and the person who is actually, the content is the second aspect of when I post any review about that particular MOOC. So there are
no,
many
but
people.
Yeah. But not always, because you would
absolutely not always, a few times.
Yeah, and that is what is this particular LXI or learner experience interaction is going to talk about. Learner experience interaction is okay, maybe late response or no response. Yeah, would you want to say something about this late response thing?
Yeah, actually, I myself have taken few courses through MOOCs. So when we post some queries in the discussion forum or some topics we don't understand, so many times it has happened that either no one responds to it, or if they are responding it and say I'm supposed to complete my assignment or complete my video this week, so get it, get the responses late. So that is not so helpful as it is helpful when we are in a class and we discuss it between peers.
Yeah. Okay. So in both the cases that Anshu ma'am and Monica ma'am are saying, either as learners or participants, we are talking of the person who is there, not of the content, as she has very specifically said, or of the queries that we have. But as discussion forum, just about queries and talking about whether this course is good or not, no, it's much more, right? Because like if we have some point that this is an LXT put up, or this is a video, it's a course content put up, which out of which I liked this point very much, and I really want to say this. So then don't we do it in the class, but then we also have to drive it in a MOOC. So a discussion, yeah, you want to say
Yeah,
something?
Arjita ji, I think what is good for one cannot be good for everyone, or it could be vice versa also. Like whatever is good and relevant will be meaningful to everyone. So what do you want to say on this? Yeah.
Yes, of course, it wouldn't be, see, there's no one size fit all. So what is good for you may not be good for me. That just means that I will not reply to what you have posted. Okay, but then what is good for you is about what? It is about based on the content, right? So all the LXI, that is the learner experience interaction. Okay, my slide is still here. Okay. So this is what we are talking about. That if we have a focus question as an instructor of a MOOC or an online course, if I am the instructor, then I would want my students or my learners to interact on the MOOC platform. Now, what would they interact with or about? They would interact about me as the instructor, the course, or like the queries. But no, that's not about it, right? I want them to actually experience the whole thing. So I will have to put up a very focused question there, which was on that particular resource that we are using in that particular week. And then that focused question, it's something which would actually allow the participants to talk about, and their talk would all be viewed around that question. So like when you are talking about the marketing part, or let us say the the management and the business management and all like that, and you just mentioned the movie Guru or something, and there would be a particular part or a particular topic, then could it happen that we could ask a focused question that, have you come across such a characteristic of that you find in this particular management principle around you, or do you think you have it in yourself? And then do you think the students, I mean the learners, will not actually participate? They would, right? At least if not all, many of them would. And then there would be comments and threads, answers to that. Of course, you definitely need to set up rules, like you have to be very careful of the language that you use, but everybody is grown up who takes a MOOC, so that is not a very big question. But that's how a MOOC instructor would drive the interaction in the MOOC, very focused on a particular topic that you want them to discuss. Because if this is about the personality characters of managers, then you could ask a particular question, and then each one would give one characteristic that they have seen in a person around them, and how it actually satisfies the principle that is being taught in the course. And that will also bring in a lot of cultural diversity. So do you have to say something about this? Does this now is that
Yeah, I got your point.
Yes. So when we talk about the learner experience interaction, there will be the focus question, and we have to be very smart with asking the focus question, because the focus question also needs to be very relevant. Something that the learners will feel ki, yeah, I can answer with this particular thing, and also bring in as much as diversity as possible. And that makes the learners feel that, okay, my instructor is actually talking about me, and I am not a faceless, anonymous person who is just a participant in the group, but I am me. So you can have them ask about what they see around them, and I'm quite sure sir has switched on his video, so he wants to say something. And is it about the cultural photographs that he had put as a focus question? No?
Go ahead.
Okay. So this is just because, like in one of the courses, we can just ask them to, like just the example that we have taken, we could also ask them to take a photograph that they see around them and they could post. This was, I remember a MOOC of botany where the instructor had said that look out for similar type of flowers which belong to that particular class and family, and post the pictures around you. So we also got to know there are so much of diversity of the fauna and the flora in India, and everybody was like, yes, this is okay, this happens in Kashmir, okay, this happens in Meghalaya. So that brings in very nice peer interaction amongst each other. And then there is also something called as a reflection quiz there. So how do we have a reflection quiz? A reflection quiz is actually supposed to be based on the responses that are generated during this particular interaction. So let us just go through the dynamics of the LXI very quickly, because I'm quite sure that though this is very interesting, people must be waiting that when is this going to end. So the dynamics is something like the instructor and of course the course team, because no MOOC actually happens alone. So we create a focus question that will drive the discussion thread, as we just have seen that these examples of taking up the principle that can be mapped to the managerial characteristic that you can see, or the flora and the fauna that you see. So there is this discussion thread which the learner will participate in, and our reflection quiz would ask questions which would be based on some of the, at least the comments and the threads that are coming up. Like suppose if I came to know about, there is another type of deer which is in Manipur, which is quite a different type of a deer than the deer that we find in Maharashtra and Gujarat, then I would definitely want that that question to be included, so that I also ensure that my learners are going way beyond and actually interacting with not only the peers but also the content, and they experience it in a very wholesome manner. So and of course, like it's always said that this experience also if you allow the peer, if you allow your participants to interact with each other, you provide that many opportunities, then these participants are going to establish some interaction. Maybe later these interactions become connections which would go ahead and they would become really good friends much after the course also has ended. So that is also possible, but it's, as a MOOC instructor, we have to give that particular opportunity for them to have the learner experience. Moving ahead, this is typical discussion patterns in MOOCs that we have taken, where we ask a question and there is only one answer to it. Then there's a very interesting blog written by Sir on this, that is Ekla Chalo Re. So there are certain people who will only answer to the question put up by the instructor. They will not interact with each other. Okay. Yeah. Then we have, there could be two for joy. Like, just now we had this in this session also, where Ramanna Sir answered your query. So it was two for joy actually happening live. So you had a query, and while we were discussing, he also came in. So that was actually two for joy, but the others did not. But then when we were talking about Sir's that 3D wala thing, when everybody was giving out all sorts of possible trajectories, if three people answer, of course, I'm like going a little bit fast because I'm very worried about the time. So if three people answer, then that's the high. But then if there are four or more, we call it as 1 to ka 4. Very filmy. Yes, yes. So one question, uske 4 answer. So we have so many of them. And then, because we all have been DFMs here who were actually discussion forum moderators. And we used to actually tell him that, oh my God, it's Saturday, Sunday, so there's going to be a flood of, messages and comments. And we are going to moderate these, that because the more the discussion thread of course, it's very interesting, and it keeps the whole course and the course team alive, and also gives us a lot of chance for having a reflection quiz. And the moment you see this happening, I am actually wondering that why that number is not seen. Yeah, it's there. See, if you see that, 75 views up at the top.
It's also interesting, not just slightly if I rewind this, it is also about the type of response. So if I so like we already agreed that not everyone is active on discussion forum, and we visit once in a while, we post very rarely. But if we ask something like when is the final exam, as our only post on the discussion forum probably, which is the most favorite post, but then you will only get a Ekla Chalo Re type of answer. We will say, okay, 25th of this month, that's all. There is no discussion possible there. But if you ask a question like, which chapters are included in that, then suddenly you might say that, okay, Monica will answer something, and then Ramana sir will answer something, and so there will be at least 2 people adding to the whole thing. Then you expand the question about like, have you, on the same syllabus thing, if you just reply to that same thread saying that, oh, I think even this chapter was there, was it for the last semester? So then the discussion. So point we are making here is that the patterns are mostly exactly similar to your discussion trends in a bus in a new city probably. So how you have, so probably so you'll only get that much of answer. So it's limited to the Ekla Chalo Re type of things. So so if you want to have a discussion, if you want to have an interaction, and finally which will lead to experience, probably you should also ask a question which begs for that kind of attention of the people. So that is where it is crucial.
Yeah. And this is how we actually, this is another example how we have elicited the focus discussions, where how the instructions for discussion also can be given, that identify posts from 2 of your peers where they have mentioned something different, and then post your responses to the peers' posts. We have also tried putting this as graded activity. So if the students don't respond to 2 people, then they are not getting the points, or they can't go ahead. So this will also ensure that the learners are actually interacting. And it's not about the complaints of the course or personal comments, but it is more about the content, and that's how the learning takes place actually. Discussion forum, sometimes like a WhatsApp group. Sandeep sir is saying it just got over. Yes, but then we can always, as instructors, be very clear that the discussion forum also can be made into categories. So when we were talking about the 0th week, so that is the time when we can actually start asking people to introduce themselves. So there is no good morning, good night. And there is also very clear instruction that such type of things would not be there. So please do not even answer okay or thank you, unless and until there is always a like button, right? So you can always just press like, but you don't have to answer that okay or thank you type of thing, because it just unnecessarily adds to the clutter. There is also this particular part that if you have enrolled in a MOOC and if you have subscribed to the discussion forum, every single thing will come into your email. So if somebody is going to just write okay and thank you, even that is going to clutter your email, and that you don't want to experience, then you obviously don't want your learners also to experience. So you can actually lay down this type of rules right in the beginning of week 0. What are we going to do? And you can also call it as course protocol or something like that. And very interestingly, this is my own experience for the discussion forum, breaking the ice type of thing, where introduce yourself, because the course that I do is usually interdisciplinary chemistry. So I had asked the learners to introduce themselves, like they have to talk about them as one element. And how do they talk about them as an element is they have to identify their own characters which match with the characteristics of that element. And then I had given an example that if I am going to introduce myself, it would be germanium. And then everybody has to introduce it in that way. So you set the tone of the course right in the beginning, where the learners will not just be talking about, they know that, okay, this course is going to be different. So that's how you can actually start leveraging right from 0th week itself. And then you have this type of an reflection quiz where we have said that the one of the peers has mentioned something, and then which of the points are true of this particular course. So even if the person has not actually read it, so it's good to give that reference, give that link. So because in a MOOC there are like thousands of people, so it's practically impossible to locate anybody. So just give that particular post, tell the learner to go there, see what it is, and then actually answer the RQ. Just coming back very quickly, that incentivization, learners participation is what is more important. So we have tried this also, that hall of fame type of thing, post of the day, sabse acha question kisne pucha, sabse zyada answer kisne diye, and so many other things that you can try to keep the learners engaged. Because remember that funnel that we had seen, there are so many of us who feel the disconnect, and therefore we don't complete the course. Because of the discussion forum, you can also motivate the learners who are feeling this isolation to be in the course in the moment and complete the course. Even if you are able to motivate 5 people, I know I'm saying like a little bit more only, but yeah, even if 5 people are motivated because of this discussion forum thing, that they felt no, I'm there in a course as a person and somebody is looking out for me, then I think it's the success of the course. And moving ahead, yeah, you'll just please excuse me because I'm really going quite fast. So we have to highlight interesting contributions and increase their motivation, as we said. And the LXI takeaways would be basically to leverage peer learning. I have been part of courses where we are actually supposed to grade each other's assignment submissions also. So the core of this is that the instructor, as we all are going to be MOOC instructors, would be to have a very, very sharp focus question which anchors the entire discussion there. So it's the beauty of having a focus question first, so that you can have ekla chalo re to 1 2 ka 4 and maybe 1 2 ka multiple also. Okay, there would be times, I still remember last year when there was a time that we said ki ab bas ho gaya, we are stopping the posts of comments for this particular question. So even that can happen, and we hope that you do experience that. So LXI creation steps, again, like we all said, that yeah, the first wise thing would be to pick up a particular topic which will have multiple viewpoints, which would have great amount of diverse discussion there, which would be from their own experiences. They should not be able to put something which is there in the book, then that's not fun. If you're going to write about your own experience, then that is fun. So the LXI is that. And that's how we create the focus question, we anchor it. And after anchoring that entire process, we can have the reflection quiz where we allow the peers to go through whatever they each other have expressed. And with that, I think we are coming to the end of this. And before we end, there are 2 examples who are our colleagues now. He actually created a video by answering the queries which were put up by people in the discussion forum. So he went ahead to create his own video. And also another example where he actually traveled 150 kilometers just to answer one question. Okay, and then he created an entire FAQ so that all the learners could know where to find the commonly faced problems. So these are the discussion forum moderators, and without the moderators, it is very difficult to handle the LXI part. So this is something that we would actually look forward to as MOOC instructors. And here comes the final thing, that is, you have to create an LXT for your MOOC. This is a compulsory type of a thing that you have to do. This is what you will be submitting. I think Tejinder would be pasting the link of the constructor. Yeah, there she is. And yeah, Tejinder is very, very quick and all these beautiful slides that you see are all thanks to Tejinder. She has got a great knack of actually knowing once after just one discussion that, okay, let's put this, let's put that. So she is just too good to have as a colleague. And yeah, optional why we kept as LXI is because unfortunately the VLE is down. Otherwise we would have asked you to create a focus question also. So that's just optional. Yes, sir's video is on, so sir wants to say something.
Yeah, I want to ask actually. So before the VLE got down, actually, I saw that there were quite a few submissions for the LBD thing, which we are going to discuss tomorrow, because now we will have to get it again from you. But so I had a very positive feeling after I saw the submissions. This time the submissions were slightly ahead of time. Normally I saw that the submission used to happen a couple of hours before the session started, but this time it was like a couple of days before the session. So I was pleasantly surprised. But I still have a question. Is it too daunting as an exercise for people who are taking up this course? So that is the question. So the reason I'm asking is that in that case, because what we have planned is, then tomorrow's session is going to be the discussion about your submissions on LBD and what is good and what can be more good kind of thing. But the next weekend is mostly is only about your presentations. So the question is that, is it too short a time for doing this? I will also lay down the rules and regulations for that. We have just maybe a minute to do that, and then we may have another shutdown probably from Google Meet, because 1 hour is over. So before that just gets down, I wanted to know from all of you, is it too daunting, the kind of assignments and activities which are happening on the course?
No, it's not like that, because we have just finished with the semester and session, and we are parallelly working for NAC preparations and many other things going on. So that could be one reason, and most of the faculty are utilizing this time of the time for the personal and professional development. So they are continuously attending the webinars and the FDPs by AICTE and other regulatory bodies, so that they should actually take care of this particular time.
So the solution, even Sandeep has responded by saying that it is because of other activities that are going on.
Yes.
So the solution part is that this has to be taken up as a group activity, and we just mentioned this in the beginning also. But somehow it is not trickling down when we see the submissions. My suggestion is going to be that rather than being on the fence, I think you can just enter the pool and see the things here. But come in a team if you want to really experience it in the best manner. Because if you, and believe me when I say this, if you do it in a team, you will actually don't need our review at all, because most of the things will be thrashed out within your discussion itself. It's only when you do it in isolation that there are two things happening, that you are not sure about the submission, and mostly because you are not aware what are the problems with that. So my foremost suggestion is going to be that even if for today's submission that we have posted the link here, maybe Tejinder you have to post it again, because people may have missed the one in the last session what got off suddenly at 6 o'clock. So before posting it, here is a chance to show it to your colleagues before you submit it. Maybe you can submit it slightly late, that is okay, or maybe tomorrow morning also, that is also fine. But submit it, retain the slide also, and you can just show that, okay, this was my submission, after discussion this was the modification, and just post it there. Probably we will have nothing to say after that. That is how it is going to be, and you yourself will say that please call off the session, we know what is wrong with it, kind of thing. But believe me, it has worked every time. And then what Ajita was saying, even for the sessions that we have been creating, the activities that we have been discussing, and all the LBDs that we are creating for you, and the LXTs that we are creating for you, because we just throw it open in our group one fine evening, saying that, okay, comments, these are the LXTs for Oro to be released next week, and then suddenly you just go off for a chai and come back to see 45 messages on WhatsApp. So that's the power of peer interaction. I think you can leverage that to the maximum whenever you want to do that, and that will help out in straightening up a couple of things. One. Second, even when we discussed in the very first session, the objective of this MOOC, this course, is about creation of only one single week module for your course. At the end of the day, the onus is on the group. It is not an individual activity. Please remember that. So you as a group have to come up with a presentation next week. So I suggest you have done it individually for writing your own script, and you have tried to do LBDs now. But still, I feel that if there is time to huddle once again, try to check out each other's LED scripts, whether their reflection spots and your reflection spots are in sync, and whether they make sense. Pick up the best reflection spot, pick up the best LBD, and put it up together as a presentation for the next week. So that is what is going to be. So yes, so if it is not daunting and whatever messages I have seen, I think so we are good here. But yeah, peer interaction is the key here. I think, yeah, that's what.
Yeah, so peer interaction, if you favor, then just watch the magic happen, actually. Because, yeah, this caption says a lot about it, because once the interaction is happening, even amongst the instructors and the course participants, it will actually be magical. And we always have been saying this, that because that interaction was so much, it in the course that we spoke about, like, you know, when the lockdown happened, so we already were actually conducting a MOOC, and there was so much of interaction at that time. We kept our sanity because we were involved in actually keeping the interaction and watching that magic. Otherwise, it was a very tough time. Yeah. So anyway, so favor the interaction and watch magic happen.
Yes. So questions? We will try to see if really it's up, and then we can send up this presentation for upload. If not, you can take down this website address, and probably it will be possible to download it from here as well on Ajita's website. I will also post the link for my webpage where I was just talking about the principles of design and types of content. Somebody was asking that. Yeah, any questions in between?
And please take down that link that Tejinder has just posted for the LBD submission. We would really appreciate if you would fill up that, because the VLE is down and we would really like to discuss it all tomorrow. That's kind of like our wrap up. So today we actually have, like you have covered 80% of the development of MOOC. So in theory, as well as 50% in practical. So 2 more things and then you're done. Yes, sir has posted his link.
Maybe Tejinder, if you can find out that Ekla Chalo Re wala blog also.
Yeah.
That's an interesting read. Yeah, nothing. Yeah, again, it is the LXT. Yeah, questions.
Sir, how do you make a comparison of, I just want to know, for my understanding, that how are we going to make, because I've seen many of the videos from the foreign university professors, right? So when I see them, I have not seen such a structured approach which you explained. Still people are watching, and I mean, is it because they are from Harvard or Stanford with due honor, or what is the criteria of selecting that MOOC? Because many times people just go by these, cosmetic changes and cosmetic, projections, and finally they are missing upon some important content which may not be so popularized because they are not associated with a very good brand or maybe the top universities of the world. So how can we take care of this aspect? Yeah. Yeah.
So you meant to say that sometimes that brand, so the content is the topic kind of parent university is very good, but the content is not so good, and vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of variety, as you actually have taken us to different phases and structures and this thing. Yeah.
Okay. So the simplified version of the question is that why have you explained us MOOC as such a complex thing rather than making a bunch of videos which are popularly available on, and very famous people have created lots of MOOCs, but they don't have so much of but they don't seem to have so much of paraphernalia attached to it. To put it in a different way, this is even we had a long debate about this. In fact, at one point we have devised a word called as LCM Lite. So this is LCM, what we just discussed. And then we say that LCM is a flexible model, so you can adopt LCM Lite also. So LCM Lite is typically like any other thing where you can delete any one of the quadrant, any two of the quadrants, and say that, okay, I am going to make entire MOOC in my way, but I'm only going to adopt a reflection spot idea in this. I'm not going to take LBDs and LXTs and LXI, to forget it. I don't have time and patience for doing all this stuff. It's perfectly fine. It's actually up to your choice about how you want to make a course. All these things are very idealistic conditions, and even if you ask me frankly, I have not implemented all of them 100% in all my MOOCs. It's not possible. Human restraint is definitely there. But again, I will repeat that it is only possible if you collaborate. So the course which is the most popular course by Samir is the one on animation, which has like huge number of followers, like more than 75,000 people have enrolled for that course. But it doesn't have all the LCM principles. On the other hand, the course on LCM itself, which is having all the possible LCM principles applied, is taken by less than 20,000 people. Okay, but the key here was that there were 4 instructors involved in this, and we actually realized it's exactly like building a cricket team. So you find a good bowler, okay, take him for LBDs. You find a good all-rounder or a wicket-keeper, take him for LXTs and LXIs. And to tell you the secret part, I am supposed to be the expert on LXI. So I was included for LXIs in this. So Professor Sridhar and Sahana used to say, okay, we will Professor Sahana is the expert on LBDs. So she will all create the activities and customized feedback and constructive feedback. She is the master of that. And Sridhar Iyer will be good at LEDs and reflection spots and creating good scripts for that. And Jai Krishnan, my friend, so he is the greatest expert you can find on LXTs. So you just tell him one word, like you want to know more about it, he will give you like flurry of references for that. With the probably he will also know the DOI number and all that, ISSN and everything he will know about. He's so meticulous about it. So what we did is that when we made a course, we said that let us not barge into each other's domains. So I never worried about my scripts. I just said, okay, you give me the script. I'm going to just speak about it. So I spoke somebody else's script in my voice. And somebody wrote LBDs for my LEDs, and Jai Krishnan gave LXTs for my LEDs, and I conducted discussion forum activities for everybody. So that's how it went off. So there are also people, like for example, in my own animation course, the LBDs were designed by a person who is not on screen at all in the entire course of my 40 lecture course. This guy, I have given him credit on my slides. Every slide has his name. His name is Nitin Iyer. And there is another girl called Sneha Sanglikar and Kaumudi, my wife. All three of them appear on my slides, but none of them face the camera because they said we are not good at that. So you are our mascot or whatever you call it. You have to speak out our slides. But we will do the back end work of writing LBD. So this guy, Nitin Iyer, was the best person to write the activities for my course. And Kaumudi was the designer of my slides, and Sneha was the person who built up my LXTs and LXIs. So it happens in such cases, and MOOC is definitely, creation of a MOOC is always, in my opinion, a group activity. You cannot, you can probably, you may be a super talented person to do everything all the way to alone. But in principle, if you ask me, you need to be, it's like you cannot replace 11 people, however good you are. You need 11 people in the field finally. So MOOC is like that. According to me, you need people for these things. Yeah, in that way, it can happen.
So in case, I mean, it means that discussion forum moderators can be other than me or my team, or that
they have to be other than
who is nowhere related to my MOOC, but still they are moderators.
Yes.
You cannot be omnipresent. So you cannot be facing the camera, recording the thing, going back immediately to your table, typing the activities, going and creating reading material by browsing various libraries, and then also going on while reaching home on the WhatsApp or something, you are answering queries on the discussion forum. So even if you have 4 hands and 6 legs, it is not possible to do that. So it's only that you delegate. But the point is that with a model like this, you have a facility to delegate that, because you can tell them, okay, these are the takeaways, this is the constructor, this is the objective of doing this, and then you can always align it with the objectives of the course and then go ahead with that. So that's how it helps. So all these people who are assisting me right now, they have come from so many different domains, and when I introduce each one of them, you can figure out that none of them actually even has any overlap within themselves. But we are just, so even in our team, we have people who are focused on visual design part, there are people on LXT, there are people on LXI, and there are people who are expert on getting these 4 people together, like me. So
Yeah, and just to answer what Monica ma'am was asking, that don't we have such courses there? Well, I am doing actually a professional course, and it is totally having each and every element of the LCM model. I was just telling it to sir and our team, I think last week, and it becomes so engaging because just yesterday I had to do peer review of 2 submissions. I think one was from Hong Kong, the other was from Pakistan. So it is, my teammates are also saying that, where are you nowadays? So, but yes, it's not like nobody does it, but once you do it, then the course will really become. And the moment that those 4 quadrants I could see, the first phone was to our group that, hey, this course has got the entire LCM right from from RS to your final part of the peer review in LXI. Everything this course has. So, yes. Good examples are rare to come. Bad examples are a lot. But we should...
Yeah, it's only, and also like we have been saying this, that this is only like one model in probably 1 billion models which can be created for learner-centric approach. This is because we created it, we tested it, we found it useful. So we are popularizing it and we are presenting it. You may come up with another model of your own, which is perfectly fine. So, but in my personal opinion, after looking at so many MOOCs, I realized that there are definitely different ways of engagement that people follow. Depends on the nature of the subject, the instructor's ideas, the technology platform affordances, there are so many variants there. But overall, we just wanted to drill down one thing, that the online content or MOOC should be thought in a learner-centric manner. Instead of what I want to teach, we should just flip the question saying that how can people learn? So if we just flip that, probably there will be many answers. And that is why it is not possible for us to review your submissions also in a very objective manner, because they may be pertaining to your own subject. So there is no right or wrong. That's the best part. Good. So if there are no more questions, and if it is already time.
Yeah, it's already
Yes,
time.
I think Shreya is not here. So on behalf of Auro University team, I would like to thank you and Ajita ji for such a wonderful deliberations that we have made. And I think in last 2 or 3 weeks, we were also discussing amongst the teams that we got more clarity on MOOCs. Generally, you know, we used to keep it up to students only, but now this is coming to us as the facilitators. So I think now we got more clarity at our end also, like it is not just a tool for learning, and more responsibility has been imposed on us. I mean, it should be there because we are ultimately reaching to students in the best possible way through MOOCs. So MOOCs should not misguide them. They should actually take them to a particular, you know, purpose or objective for which they have actually aligned. So thank you so much, sir, to you and to Ajita ma'am for such a wonderful deliberations. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank
Please don't forget to upload your submissions. If your colleagues are missing this session, please tell them, remind them to post it. As I said, if you can, try to review it with your peers and submit another slide about the review, what happened. And we all will see you tomorrow.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.